Good morning. I would like to welcome you all here today. It's a good day. It's a beautiful day this spring. I love spring. Ah. So I want to start our class today with this lovely scripture in Psalm 126, verses 5 through 6. And all you have to do is remember Psalms, because Psalms are the scriptures of comfort. And this one is beautiful. Psalm 126, verses 5 through 6. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. He that goeth forth and weeping, bearing precious seed, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. The law of the harvest. We sow in tears. For women, that's at least partly about motherhood. Sowing in tears. It's the heaviness. It's the sleepless nights. It's the work. It's the struggle. It's the trying. And then when you see your children grow and become and live and flourish and learn and all of those things, then you are rejoicing. All of that is rejoicing for you, and it's the sheaves that you bring back. And so it is in the gospel. As we plant the seed in our hearts, the seed of the gospel, and nourish it and love it and weep with it and trust in it, then we will come back with rejoicing, knowing that we are reaping the rewards of the joy of living the gospel. And those are very real joys, real and tangible, that we can hold on to. So that's something to think about today. So today we're going to do a very interesting and a little bit different class, but I like to do something different every day. So today I want to start with our essential oil, which is Arborvitae. Arbor, like tree, A-R-B-O-R, and vitae, V-I-T-A-E. Arborvitae. Looks like this. Arborvitae, it's in a tiny bottle. And that just means it's a little bit more difficult to procure. It's a very woody smell. And very grounding. Here, let you try some of that. Arborvitae is grounding and peace-giving. It's got some really good benefits and things that you can use it for. You can use it for cleansing and purifying. Some people add it to a spray bottle with water. It helps protect against seasonal illnesses and environmental threats. Keeps your house smelling fresh and clean. You can just use it like as a spray diffuser instantly with a spray bottle. It also it brings peace and calm to the body and to the soul. And it's good for diffusing in a diffuser, of course. It helps you to relax, and the aroma itself is grounding. It brings you back to the ground, back to the earth, back to your foundation. You can use it as a furniture polish, and it would really make your furniture smell good. You can add it with like a coconut oil and use it in that way for a furniture polish. Let's see. It's also used as a cologne that is, good for. If you like that smell, it's a good masculine smell, but I also like it on me. It's just very makes you feel like you're out in the forest. Gives you that feeling. But the thing about Arborvitae that I love the most is its emotional properties, and emotional and spiritual. Now, to remind you, I get this from Emotions and Essential Oils. You can get it online. It's like $12. Emotions and Essential Oils. This is one edition. There are several. So Arborvitae is the oil of divine grace. Arborvitae assists individuals who believe or act like all progress must be made through struggle and solitary effort. Do any of us do that? Instead of trusting in the divine, these individuals unconsciously block divine aid, choosing instead to live by their own efforts. Arborvitae addresses the need to control one's outcomes in life. It invites individuals to live with peace and joy by trusting in the abundant flow of divine grace. Oh, how easy is that? Arborvitae helps us. Arborvitae is also a grounding oil which teaches that divinity is all around us. It's everywhere. God's grace can be felt and experienced here on earth. Very important. And it is not distant or separate from us. God can help us find balance in our lives and know what we should hold close and what we should release. So looking at Arborvitae can help us to make those important decisions of what we should keep close and what we should release in our lives. Arborvitae's Latin name means to sacrifice. This oil invites individuals to sacrifice their personal will and ambitions for a far more fulfilling way of living. By surrendering to God, the mind relaxes and the soul experiences harmony and peace. Arborvitae teaches that true strength comes through emptiness or a willingness to receive God's strength. So that's what God defines as poor, as the emptiness or openness of your soul. And that's the willingness to receive from Him, instead of saying, I already know what I want, I already know what I got, and feeling like you have to do it yourself. And Arborvitae invites you to open up and be willing to receive from God, receive His grace. It asks individuals to relax, take a deep breath, and trust in the flow of life. It assists the soul to live effortlessly by divine grace. I love Arborvitae. I love Arborvitae because it's a very special oil. It's simple. It's not like frankincense that's got 100 different uses. This just is basically one use that it does really, really well. And I love that about it. It's very grounding, very solidifying, very peace-giving. Okay, so that's Arborvitae. The next thing we're going to talk about is our stone. And this stone is my new favorite stone. This is a sunstone. First of all, I love the name, but it's going to be really difficult to see this on the camera, but it's a little bit pinkish, and if you get one close up, you can see that it's a little bit sparkly. Now, the sparkles in it are flecks of copper, and to me that's amazing that these little flecks of copper get trapped inside this stone and they make it almost shine. It's really beautiful. Arborvitae is. Not Arborvitae, sunstone, yes. So, for those who need to bask in the warmth, feel light spill across their skin, and who find themselves way more energized in the softer months than in the dark winter months, the sunstone is here to ensure you that you keep a piece of endless summer close by. So that's a really good way of describing that stone. It's a piece of endless summer. So I like to surround myself with these different stones because each of them has a slightly different feel to them. And yes, it's subtle, and some people have attached some lots of other superstitious qualities, but for me, it's just the subtle energies of the stone that provide different feel, a different look, and I can look at and hold a different stone, and it just feels a little bit different. And if you're awake here in your soul, then you'll feel that. So it says that the sunstone was uncovered first in the fjords of Norway. Yay, Norway. It was said that the Vikings used this shimmering bright stone as a compass to find their way across the cold blue waters and into greener pastures. Even beyond the ancient Nordic text, the sunstone was also said to be a beautiful healer in Native American culture, and is said to have earned its shading from the blood of a great wounded warrior. Sunstone has crept into every corner of myth and legend, with even the ancient Greeks believing that this precious piece of warmth came from the sun god himself. So, along with healing qualities, granting joy and gifting direction to those who feel unsure of which way to turn, the sunstone is said to harness the power of the sun. It can lend light where there is darkness, bring warmth when there is cold, give vitality where there is sluggish energy, and shake you up with life and a heady dose of vitamin C for the soul. It's mined across the globe, not just in Norway, and it just is good for self-empowerment, to help you to say yes and wake yourself up to life in that way. And as one of the best healing stones for seasonal affective disorder, the sunstone is an instant mood brightener. So it just has like a cheerful, bright, uplifting sense to it. So, and the more you work with stones, the more you'll be able to recognize those different feelings that are there. Okay, so back to our scripture, Isaiah chapter 54, verse 11. O thou afflicted, tossed with tempest, and not comforted, behold, I will lay thy stones with fair colors, and lay thy foundations with sapphires. And I will make thy windows of agates, and thy gates of carbuncles, and all thy borders of pleasant stones. And all thy children shall be taught of the Lord, and great shall be the peace of thy children. Sunstone. Stones in general. Okay, so now what we're going to do today is I wanted to talk about some of the important ways that we can help our body to overcome the natural sluggishness that we feel, especially in the winter time. So this being spring, we're going to take our sunstone and our arborvitae of grounding, and we're going to help the body basically come out of its winter hibernation. Okay? So in order to do that, we are going to go to the floor. And I'm not going to be down just yet, but okay, so we're going to start standing. So you might want to give yourself lots of space. We're going to start standing up. And I'm just going to walk you through what I do every morning to wake myself up and to give my body a jump start for the day. This is how I allow my body to wake up from the night's sleep when it's been stationary, and to get the lymph system going, get the internal organs going. And this is something I learned that was given to me a long time ago, and I've used it ever since. And the reason I use this system is because it goes from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet and opens up every part of you. It opens and strengthens and moves every part of you, and without actually feeling like you're going through an exercise class. It takes a few minutes, but that's all. It just takes a few minutes, and it's not super strenuous, but it does open the body and give you that sense of awakeness and aliveness. Okay, so we start out with just standing, feet together, arms down, and just a good straight posture. And from there, we're going to open up the arms and the legs and go just straight out. And then the head all the way back. And now pull the arms back. And breathing. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And now we're going to put the hands together and the feet back together. And bow the head all the way down. And now we're going to go all the way up and the feet back apart a little bit. All the way up and arch. Oh. And now we're going to go all the way down. Let the hands down and all the way down. And reach. Just reach and relax. Relax the back, but reach the arms. Bow the head. And just let everything relax and breathe 2 breaths. Deep breaths. And then back up. And then we do that again. We're going to go up and head back. Oh. And open the jaw. Ah. And then forward and head bowed. All the way down. Tuck that chin way in. Feel the neck pulling. And then all the way up and legs apart. Oh, and arch again. Oh. And then all the way down again. And 2 breaths again. Head down. Now, if you notice, the second time you go down, you can go just a little further down. And that happens because you've already loaded the muscle with oxygen. That's what the deep breaths are about. It's loading the muscle with oxygen so that the next time you go down, you can go further. And that's the importance of repeating these twice at least. It's so that you load the muscle the first time, and then the second time it's got oxygen in it, so then it can move and it's more open. Okay, so after that, then we are going to go down into a downward dog position, which is feet and hands, and the back side is pointed up, and just pressing the heels against the floor. And you breathe 2 breaths because you're loading those muscles. And then relax it. Just go down into a kneeling position and relax that. Just briefly, and then go back up and stretch it again. Okay, that's good. I discovered the importance of loading the muscle several years ago, and it made all the difference in the stretching that I did and in allowing my body to get the oxygen before I expected it to stretch open. And it just made me able to stretch so much more and allow more, because whenever the body gets solidified and isn't able to stretch, then it isn't able to get oxygen into that place. So fear constricts the body, and constriction causes oxygen to be unable to move, and that is where if oxygen can't get into a certain part of your body, then it can't heal. And so healing comes, the body heals itself when it's allowed to move freely. And that's what this is about. Okay, so now we're gonna be up on our knees. And we're going to breathe all the way in and all the way out. And when it's all the way out, then we're gonna hold it while pulling in on the tummy muscles. And we're gonna hold it as long as we can and then let it out. And we're gonna do that twice. So breathe all the way in and all the way out. And then suck in the tummy, but don't suck in the breath. And then you let the breath back in. Rest the feet if you have to. And we're going to do it one more time. That exercise is one that allows you to, it strengthens your internal organs and their ability to get the oxygen that they need. It's not one that people often do, but it's very important, I found, especially for mothers who've had children, to allow those internal muscles to pull back inside, to go this way. We just don't always do that direction. We might do straight, a tightening, but this is different where you suck it all the way in. Okay, so let's do that again. So breathing all the way in and all the way out. And then when it's all the way out, then we're gonna suck in the tummy, but leave the breath out. My goal usually is to count to 10 when I do that, but I can't always make it. Okay, so now we're gonna go down on all fours. All fours. Okay? And we're gonna do the cat and the dog, but nice and slow with breaths. So we'll do a breath in and out with the cat, and then a breath in and out with the dog. So up here, arching with the cat, breathe, and then down into the dog with the head up, and breathe, and then back to the cat, and down to the dog. So this opens the hip, the pelvis, the solar plexus, the chest, the shoulders, the knees, and the neck. It's really good for all of that. And actually, any one of these would be a good thing to do anytime you're under stress. Just pick one. Okay, now we're going to sit. And this next one is a really good for the back. And what this does, we're going to put one leg over the other knee. What this does is that it opens up the spine so that it can put itself back. It's a way of strengthening and opening the spine so that it will go back to its position without having to have a chiropractor push it back. The muscles have to be able to relax and allow it. Otherwise, the pushing back will just end up in going back to the way it was before. Okay, so we're gonna grab, so if I have my right knee over my left leg, I'm gonna grab my right knee with my left arm and then look behind me and point my right hand behind me and look across my right hand with my right eye. And then 2 deep breaths. And then relax it. Just relax it for a few seconds. And then go back and do it again and see how much further you can go. And then 2 more deep breaths. whenever I do that, I can always get at least a good 20 degrees more on the second time I do it. And that's why we do that. You load the muscle first, and then it has more ability to stretch the second time you do it. Second, third, fourth, whatever. Okay, now the other leg, and grab it with the other arm, and look behind you, go as far as you can with neck and arm, and see where your neck and arm go. Just point to something so you know where you're at, so you know how much further you go the next time you go. And then 2 deep breaths to load the muscle. And then just a quick relax. And then back. And see how much further your neck and your arm can go. And breathe again. This just is so energizing because it just loads the muscles with oxygen without you being strenuous and actually doing like a workout, what people call a workout. We're just opening the muscles and allowing you to open up your day and just make it more strong, more capable, more able to move. Okay, so the next place we go to is on our backs. Okay. Still see me okay? Okay. Feels good to go on your back. So the first one we're going to do is the pelvic rock. And you just put your hands on your pelvis right here on the sides of your hips and just rock the pelvis up and rock the pelvis back. Rocking it back and forth. And forth. Now, on this next one, we're going to lift the hips from underneath with your hands. Put your hands behind you on the back of your hips and lift the pelvis up. And then breathe the 2 deep breaths. And then relax and let it down for a second. And then reposition the feet underneath you as best you can. And lift those hips one more time. They should go just a little farther, but only do it where it's comfortable. And stretch a bit. This one's good for helping the uterus get back to its normal position after you've had a baby. It allows it to go back up into its rightful position. And so many women don't ever do that, and that's why they have so much trouble with their uterus in later life. And then release and let it down. Okay. Now we're going to do another back strengthening, back opening thing, where you just lay flat, spread your arms wide, and then you're going to lift your knees up and roll them to one side, and your head goes to the other direction. So you roll your head to the left and your knees to the right, or the opposite. And then take 2 deep breaths. And then release it. Go back to a straight back position. You can keep your knees bent. And then go back and do the same thing again. And see how much further you can open the spine. And that's what this is doing. It's opening the spine from top to bottom to allow it to go back to its normal position. And the oxygen that you breathe in is allowing the healing to go into every part of your body. Sometimes we get so constricted that there are certain parts of us that we just don't move. I mean, you notice how old people end up curled up in a ball in a position where they're just sitting in a chair. And all it would take is to just get them to move every day, but they're out of the habit. Okay, so the next side, we go to the left, knees to the left, head to the right, or knees to the right, head to the left. And 2 deep breaths. And then relax. And then go back. Nice deep breath again. And see how far you can stretch it. Oh, it feels good, especially on a spring day. Okay, we're staying on our back again. Now this next one is called the shoulder stand. So as best you can, push your hips up and get your feet up in the air. And as straight as you can on your shoulders with your elbows behind you, holding you up. As best you can. If you can only just kind of roll back on your shoulders, that works too. And this is good to allow some extra blood into your head, your shoulders, your uterus, your internal organs, your neck, and it just gives you a little bit better circulation on your top end. Okay, now we're gonna spread the legs and take 2 deep breaths. And then relax. And spread the legs again. And before we go down now, we're going to put the feet down behind your head as far as you can make them, while still keeping the legs straight. Just as far as you comfortably can. And then bend the knees down beside your head if you can, keeping your hands down flat on the floor. And then back down. Okay. Now laying flat, as flat as you can. Put your hands down beside you on the floor, flat on the floor, and use your thighs for leverage and lift your head and put the top of your head as best you can on the floor. I think this is called an alligator. We're going to take 2 deep breaths here. This one's very important for the thyroid. It opens and strengthens the thyroid. And now we're going to put the head back down and relax it. And then we're going to go back and put the head up again. Head on the floor, the top of the head. This is very important for opening and strengthening the thyroid and letting the oxygen go in it. It's a stretch that it's not very natural to do in your normal life. Okay. Oh. And back down. Okay, and now we're going to breathe through all of our organs. We're going to start at the bottom, just over your bladder. Hold one hand there and deep breath in and out. Just focus on relaxing. And then on your solar plexus, right below your rib cage, breathing in. And out. And just relax and feel good. Then on the chest, in. And out. And on the neck. In and out. And put your hand on your forehead. Breathe in. And out. Just a nice, relaxed, easy breath going in as far as you can and out as far as you can in a relaxed way. Now the top of the head is fingers clasped upside down on the top of the head. Deep breath in. And out. Now both hands pointing straight up and both feet pointing straight down, and breathe and hold. Breathe in and hold. And stretch, stretch, stretch. And just hold it as long as you can and then release it. Now, in order to get up, we're going to just roll our knees and grab them. Just pull your knees up to you and grab them. And then put your elbows down and push yourself up into a sitting position. And I like to just sit here with a good straight posture. And allow all of that to sink in. Archie, I wonder if you could bring me my coat, please. Okay. Now, last but not least, and I should have brought a pillow today, but I forgot, so I'm going to use my coat. We are going to get upside down on our heads. Now, if you can't go clear up with your feet all the way up, then you're just going to go up onto your head with your knees. So I'll show you. So you can just do it this way, or you can do it this way, or go this far and put your knees on your elbows, or you can go all the way up onto your head. This is really powerful for the teeth, the brain, the eyes, the throat. It's just a really good muscle strengthener, uterus relaxer, even more so than the shoulder stand. So, and this is the last one that I do. And just go until you are uncomfortable, and then go back down. And I like to stretch coming out of it. And just allow my legs to open up. And at this point, I feel pretty much ready for anything. I feel like I could do anything, go anywhere. It opens the body, the mind, the soul. It's very cleansing, it's very healing. Like I said, oxygen is the most important nutrient, and oxygen is the healer in your body. If there's a place in your body that's struggling, it's because it's not getting enough oxygen, because the body heals itself. And that's why I like to do that every day, because it allows oxygen into every part of the system. And that's so important. In fact, it's vital. And in the same way, God gives us the truth so that in every part of our soul, in every part of our mind, there is the truth. The truth is what heals. As the truth heals our mind and our heart, then our whole life is healed. If you believe a lie, it can destroy your life. And when you know the truth, you can be healed. And that's why Jesus was such a powerful healer, because he gave people the truth. It's the truth that heals, which is why I do affirmations. Affirmations are truth that we repeat so that our subconscious mind starts to believe them automatically. Because sometimes we inherit lies and beliefs that are not true and that do not serve us, and they become the standard for our life and produce things automatically from our subconscious mind. Now, I've done a lot of study about psychology and the subconscious mind, and what we now know is that it is the subconscious mind that runs your life. So everything in your life is something that was brought there by you, whether it was you deciding to do something or whether it was something coming out of your belief system. But everything was done out of that everything that is you. So if you see something in your life, it's something that came from within you. And that first seems very daunting, like, well, how can I fix my whole life? But that's why God gives us the gospel. He gives us the gospel so that we can compare what we read in the scriptures with what our life looks like and say, well, if he says this is the truth, then it must be the truth. And sometimes it takes a lifetime of living the gospel for us to get to the point where our life looks like a life of prosperity. In other words, truth and hope and goodness and peace. But that's what the gospel was for. So I look at my ancestors, for instance. My ancestors who came from Norway, and they were all homesteaders in North Dakota. And in my family, there was a great deal of addiction and abuse and neglect and broken families and broken relationships and broken marriages and a lot of pain and a lot of disease and all of these things. And so a generation ago, my mother heard the missionaries. She was in her 30s, and she joined the church. And from that point on, she started to teach her children the gospel. And her life at that moment was not all that great. Both her and her husband were in some serious addiction. There was a lot of abuse going around. There was a lot of really bad things in their lives. But gradually, as she learned and studied and practiced the gospel, her life began to improve and her children's life began to improve. And each of us, her children, has sought to improve upon what she gave us. And our lives now look 100 times better than her life did. And my children's lives are looking way better than mine did. And so in that way, the gospel improves our life over generations of time. However, we now know that if you can find the truth and you can repeat it enough times with faith and believe it, then you can change your life much more quickly. And I think God expects us to do this. And that's why we've been given general conferences. It's why we have the ensign coming into our house every month. It's why we have the scriptures right in our hot little hands. We have talks on the internet. We can grab our phone and listen to a talk any place, anywhere, anytime. And I think God is telling us that it's time to increase the amount and the frequency with which we plant the truth in our minds and our hearts, so that the changes in our lives can be quicker and better, so that we can be prepared for his coming. That's the whole point, right? He's coming, and he wants us all to be ready. So I've got some affirmations here that I'll put in the description of the video. And some of these are really wonderful. So, like this one here in the middle. I have the mental strength to resist temptation. Isn't that beautiful? Wouldn't that be a great thing to have in your subconscious mind? That whenever you face temptation, your subconscious mind says, I have the strength to resist temptation. In other words, if you've made a resolve that you want to do something or don't want to do something, your mind is going to help you by saying, I can do this. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they repeated to me several of the beliefs that they had. I can't do that. I never do this. I'm always this. And they were so powerfully negative and bringing them down. And I thought to myself, wow, they really believe that they are worthless, or that there's something wrong with them. You know, that was the belief. She's like, there must be something wrong with me. Well, that's a belief, and it's somewhere in her subconscious mind, and it manifests itself in the things that we say. So as you watch the things you say every day, the things that you repeat maybe on a regular basis, or the things that you hear yourself say to yourself, like, oh, I never do that, or, oh, this just always happens. You know, sometimes if I'm cooking, I'm like, you know what, my bread just never turns out. Like, well, there's a belief. So affirmations are about when you say, you know what, I always say that, don't I? And that always happens, doesn't it? Well, what if we changed that? What if we turned that into a positive affirmation and said, from now on, all my bread is great and I love it. And it's not about really what you're looking at right now, it's about what you're believing in your subconscious mind. The most difficult thing for a natural man to do is to look at the circumstances and then say, but it's going to be this. Because the natural man wants to look at the circumstances and say, that's always how it's going to be. It's just going to be like this because that's what I see. But the spiritual man says, God said it can be this way, so I'm going to believe in that. The natural man only wants to believe in what it can see. So it is a question of faith, and affirmations are about faith. So that's why we use the words from now on, or it is reasonable to believe that, because that helps your subconscious mind to suspend its disbelief for just a moment and believe that it might possibly be possible. And the more you plant these beliefs in there that you want, that are true, that are good, that God has given us, the more your subconscious mind will practice that. So just like a garden, the more you weed it and the more you plant good things, the more you will have good fruit. And your life is exactly about that. It is the law of the harvest. So, my direction matters more than where I've been. I am becoming a better person every day. I am proud of my decisions and stronger in who I am. I am enough, just as I am right now. I have everything I need inside of me to be the person I want to be. I respect my body, I respect my heart, I respect my future. Aren't those great? So as you get these and print them out and read them and practice them. So just as we practiced opening the body, it's really good, and this is one thing I like to do with my opening exercises when I do these stretchings. I like to have some music going, and with the rhythm of the music, which is going to help it go in faster, with the rhythm of the music, I practice an affirmation. So I like to say, I am enough. I am good enough to succeed. I am good enough to succeed. So if I'm doing my 2 breaths, I am good enough to succeed. I am good enough to succeed. I am good enough to succeed. And as you say that and do it with those stretchings and openings, it goes in faster. It really does. And when you put the music with that, it's a powerful way to energize the body, mind, and soul together. And everybody could use that in every day that they live. So I recommend it highly. Okay, any questions? Well, I just want to thank everybody for coming today. And before you go, I want to just point you a little bit toward the word of wisdom again, because before we talked about the word of wisdom and all the things you can do about it and all the good things, Now I just want to point your mind to some of the things that the word of wisdom doesn't tell you, but with the principles of the word of wisdom, we can apply it. So for instance, if we care for our body through the word of wisdom, then like Elder Packer said, he expounded on the word of wisdom. He said, anything that hampers my spirit's ability to feel the Spirit of God is something for me to avoid. So I avoid hormones because they hamper my ability to feel the Spirit of God. I avoid drugs of any kind because it hampers my ability to feel the Spirit of God. I do use things that support my ability to feel the Spirit of God. For instance, the frankincense essential oil. We know that God used the frankincense to help people feel the Spirit of God. So I use it. So in that way, I use things that enhance my ability to feel the Spirit, and I avoid things that hamper my ability to feel the Spirit. So sometimes in cosmetics, especially cosmetics, shampoo, lotions, cosmetics, those can be literally drugs that you put on your body that absorb in and that impact you. So I avoid as best as I can things that are, lots and lots of ingredients that are chemically produced, and some of which we don't even know what they do, but many of which we do. So if I'm buying a shampoo, I look on it and say, does this have any hormones? Well, how do I know if it has hormones? Any word, any chemical word that ends in O-N-E is a hormone and can be avoided. So I can recommend a website. It's called Gimme the Good Stuff. It's just called Gimme the Good Stuff. And it's a whole website where she has found a lot of different products that we use every day that are natural. And so you can find shampoos and soaps and toothpaste and even sheets for your bed, just lots of, she just likes natural things, and so she's compiled a lot of those, and you can get them there, and they'll even give you a monthly order of them. And you can just have your subscription and change it anytime you want or stop it anytime you want. But I love it because it's a good place to look for things that are natural. And I would recommend that you only put on or in your body things that are going to help you to feel the Spirit, because that's going to bring you closer to God. And with that, I want to say thank you all for coming and being your wonderful selves. I believe in you. God believes in you. Life is good. Happy spring. Have a great day. I love you. Bye.